Hello and welcome to the Coffee Talkie Show, the podcast for women living abroad. And we are so happy to have you here today because we have a very personal question to you. How are you feeling? For real. Not what you're saying to everyone right now. Like, really, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, honestly, right now.
That's amazing. But what we wanted to talk to you about today, and that's the entire episode about, is really embracing what we're feeling, knowing for ourselves before everyone else, how do we feel? Because there's a tendency to think that we need to show something outside because people don't like when we are a little low, or people don't like when we are a little high, or people don't like, and we need to adapt ourselves to others, especially when moving abroad. And we'll talk deeper into this in this episode, but this idea of how do we really feel is really important for ourselves in the beginning, but also for others around us.
Absolutely. So take a moment to realize for yourself how you feel, and let's begin. So, do you know how you feel right now? And it's really at the present moment.
Yeah.
It's not like how you feel in general about life. It's how you feel right now. But be honest with yourself.
I want to share with you something very interesting that I've been thinking about just as you spoke, because there was a big research done in positive psychology about this notion of how do we feel, about happiness in general. And it was really interesting to figure out that in the bigger frame, a lot of people are really happy.
Yeah.
They will say, like, if you ask them how happy you are, their macro, their large scale, they're really, really happy. They will explain to you why they are. They're healthy, they have a good job, they have their kids, they have their family, they have their friends. But then they've done the same research and asked them, how are you feeling on Wednesday at 2 p.m.? And then it's like depression all over. Like, people were like, meet it on Wednesday at 2 p.m. And it was actually true as well on Thursday at 1 and on Monday at 10 a.m. When you look at the very micro situation, at the second, at the like very close, narrowed scale, people were not that happy as they were. Like, there was a decrease in 80%, just to give you like the numbers. It was crazy. And the reason for that is that we tend to romanticize the bigger picture, and overall our lives, depend on where you are in the world, right? But overall our lives are really good. And we have all the reasons to be really happy. Yet, when we look at like the very tiny situation, this is where we're not necessarily feeling this way. And that's where honesty about what we feel is really important. But also, we need to be able to be like, wait a second, but at 2 p.m. I'm not exactly great, but how am I going to be in 2:05? And then look at the bigger picture.
And it really changes, you know. That's totally fine. I'm right now, as we record this, I'm really okay, but maybe in 3 hours I won't. And I can tell you that yesterday it wasn't the case. So that's about being, first of all, present in this exact moment, and then being honest with yourself. And we are going to talk about the right now as you listen to this episode. Okay?
Yeah.
Not about your life in general, about your life right now.
Right now. Because at the end, our life is a combination of all those present moments, right? Where, like, right now, in each situation, we're dealing with different things. And at any given moment, we are only dealing with the information and the things that we know right now. And what happened, doesn't matter anymore. And what will be doesn't matter as well, because we don't know it. So it's really about being concentrated on the present moment. And in this present moment, the reason why we invite you to really think about how do you feel really, and not how you're supposed to feel, how you should be feeling, how you're expected to be feeling, how do you think you should, like.
And you know, all those thoughts are only thoughts. You think you know how you should feel in a certain moment. For, let's take move abroad. We think we need to feel stressed about it or really excited about it, but no one told you, hey, this is how you need to feel. And if you don't feel stressed or excited, then you can't move abroad. Like, that's mandatory, those feelings. Either one or the other. That's it. No one told you that. You think you need to feel this way, and it's really confusing sometimes. Because when you think you need to feel a certain way, you don't allow yourself to really feel what you feel.
Yeah, and you might feel a lot of things, including both stress and excitement and joy and love and fear and anger and all of it together. Feelings are an amazing thing, and we need to allow ourselves to feel all the range of emotions. And you know, feelings, like, you know it from your background, I know it from my feelings, are just coming and go, just like waves in the sea. The only person that is holding on to them is you. Yeah. So you can feel the emotion and let it go back up, like back out, just as it came. But it's great if we are allowing ourselves to feel everything.
Yeah.
And it's so important for our own well-being. We need to feel all the emotions.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, from mindfulness, I can tell you, it's about being present in the moment, allowing yourself to feel whatever comes without any judgment. And a lot of times we do judge ourselves about feeling a certain way. Oh my God, why am I feeling this? I shouldn't feel this. So I'm going to push it back down, and I'm feeling great again. Okay, so don't do that because it will rise back up, you know, in
10 times stronger.
Or surprisingly, when you least expect it. For example, sitting in front of an officer and trying to renew your visa. But let yourself, you know, feel, acknowledge. Don't judge. It's you. It's natural. That's okay. And you can let it go. And we'll go deeper in this on what to do with those feelings in a moment. But just for now, be honest with yourself. And we'll ask you again. How do you feel right now? No judgment right now. Just whatever comes to you.
Yeah. Just
you can write it down.
Yeah. Just be honest with yourself. And the more you ask yourself, how do you feel for real? How am I feeling?
Yeah.
At any given moment. I can tell you that at some point, when I started practicing this and I started asking myself, I would do it a couple of times a day, like 10 times a day. I would ask myself, like, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? And you know, I'm adding the right now because it's not today. It's not this week. It's right now. How am I feeling? Ooh, I feel this. I feel a sensation of like a little overwhelm, a little sadness, ooh, a little joy. It all comes. And it's great because when you're allowing yourself to feel all those emotions, as you just mentioned, without any judgment, they're here for a reason. You can ask yourself, next question would be, why am I feeling like this right now? Ooh. Then you can understand things about your life. Well, maybe you can find some patterns in what triggers different feelings in whatever you feel. But it's great to feel all of this. And you know, the non-judgmental part is so important because once you release the judgment from your own feelings, you will have more confidence to deal with the judgment from others regarding your emotions and regarding your feelings.
Absolutely. You know, before I move abroad, when you share your decision to move abroad, for example, to your loved ones, your friends, your family, then there will be those who will tell you, this must be so stressing. This is so hard to leave everything. And then what you do is you match their feelings. Like, yeah, it is hard. But before you answer, ask yourself, how am I feeling right now about what he just said or she just said? And maybe you're feeling like really excited and really joyful about your move abroad. And you're like, you know what? Maybe it's hard, but this is not what I'm feeling right now. And that's okay. And on the other side, you'll have those telling you, hey, you're moving to Paris. You must be so excited. How lucky you are. I'm like, wait a minute. What am I feeling about this right now? Am I feeling excited and joyful about it? Or, oh my God, I'm so stressed about it. I can't even see where the joy is. So don't match other people's feeling. Those are your feelings and those are their feelings. You don't need to match them. It's about you right now. How do you feel about what they just said to you?
And I have personally an experience, and I wonder if you had it like too a couple of times. Many times when I feel low, so for years, to be totally honest with you, I would be poker face. No one could know or read my emotions, whatever was going on inside. And it got me sick to my stomach, because when you don't let the emotions go out very naturally, and we're not talking here about how you act on every single feeling, but they need to be expressed in some way. And for you, you find your own way, but you need to let them be, okay? When you don't, well, it eats you from the inside in some way. It will come out. And when you feel like the tiny drop that was the extra one that made you cry, but it's not the extra one. It's just that you try to block, as Maayan said, put down all the others. So for years I've done that until I realized that's not healthy. That's not what well-being is about. That's not what I should be aiming to live. So I allow all my emotions. And you know what happened then? Is that when I had low days, the response I got from my surrounding was like, but God, you're a positive psychology coach. You know everything about positivity. How can you be sad? How can you have a bad day? Nah, it's nothing. And I was like, wait a second. It's not because I know the tools and I know how to deal and I know to look for the positivity in most cases that I neglect all the others. And it's only when I felt confident with my own emotions that I was able, as you just mentioned, not to take other people's emotions to myself, not let them project their own emotions on me, but also to be like, hey, you know what? I'm really in a bad situation right now. With a smile, I can say that. I'm like, I feel a lot of emotions right now, and it's totally fine.
Absolutely. This is so important for us to be honest with ourselves, and understand and acknowledge that bad feelings are also feelings and they have their place, in our life. And you can feel those with the positive emotion, even together sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's really confusing sometimes, but it's possible. Just let them be. Just let those emotions be. And, with some practice, and it's not a lot of practice, you will understand that at every moment you have some emotions together, and you will know, oh, this is sadness, but also excitement, and also fear. And this is why I'm feeling confused. But it's all there, and it's just by, this is mindfulness, stopping, turning the camera to back inside, looking inside what is inside of you without judgment and letting it be right now. That's it. It's all you need to do. You don't have to act on it right now. You don't have to understand right now what is happening. You don't have to change those emotions. You don't need to throw them away. Just, okay, this is what is right now. And that's it.
It's that simple sometimes. We don't say it's always easy, but it's simple. We need to let ourselves feel whatever we're feeling. And just by asking ourselves, what am I feeling? That's simple. And we need to, this is the practice. This is what we want you to do. Ask yourself. Put post-its on your walls, reminder on your phone, calendar, whatever works for you. Ask yourself many times a day, how am I feeling right now? And be accepted of whatever comes, because it's here for a reason. If it's positive emotions, amazing. They're here for a reason. If it's negative emotions, it's amazing. They're here for a reason. Just be aware of what you're feeling and understand that they all come and go. So just give yourself the possibility to notice before you think about the actions and the thoughts that comes along with it. Just notice what you feel.
That's it.
It's that.
That's it. And you know, moving abroad brings a lot of emotions. Things you didn't know even existed in you for years. Okay, you've been going on with your routine. Life was great. And now you need to move abroad and everything just, rises from very deep inside of you. And it can be scary and really confusing sometimes. But just let it be. Just let everything. And if people ask you, how do you feel right now? And you answer angry, great. And 2 minutes later, you can feel excited, great. And a day after, you're feeling really happy and then stressed. And that's totally fine. But just be honest with yourself. What is it? What comes, with this crazy move that you're doing?
And the reason why we say this is that we explain, like, if you're putting your emotions like underneath and not considering it will come out some way at some point. That's a guarantee. But the reason, the more immediate reason for it is that when we are not honest with ourselves about what we feel, then our messages across are very mixed. And it can cause a lot of confusion around us, making it even harder for ourselves. Like, we've seen this post a couple of weeks ago, and I think that's one of the reasons why we decided to talk about this today. About this, this father that was explaining about how he's putting on like a strong face of like, everything's okay, and then we can do this, going with his family because he felt like he needs to be the strong one for his wife, for his kids, not showing any sign of weakness, not showing any sign of emotions, just to prove them that it's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine, it's going to be fine, it's fine. But actually, he was not feeling it at all. And he posted this anonymous post on Facebook. This is what everyone is doing right now, to share their emotions, right? So easy to just like, no one knows. But he said, like, I'm terrified. I don't know. I feel a lot of pressure about how it's going to be. I don't know how to say it. Not to my wife, not to my kids. I'm sad. I haven't slept. I'm like, and it causes a lot of confusion for ourselves at the beginning. Like, what am I really feeling like? Is it fine or is it not fine? If we don't even believe what we say, how can others believe it?
Oh my God, this is so messed up, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
But it's happening to a lot
of people. And, I want to say something about parents that are moving abroad with kids. We sometimes, a lot of times actually, think we need to protect them and show them that we are strong and we're not stressed at all, that everything's fine, just like this father posted online. But actually what happens is, first, your kids, they understand from it that it's not okay to feel sad or stressed or anxious or scared, because you don't do it, so they can't do it, and it's not okay to feel those feelings. So that's something that happens, and it's not very good. And your kids are smarter than you think. And they feel you. even if you say, hey, I'm fine, everything is fine, just go out and don't bother me, you're not fine. And they can get it. They feel that you're not fine, but you're saying that you're fine. So they're very confused. They don't know how to act. And to be honest, it happens to me sometimes as well. Like, hey, I'm fine, just don't bother me, just go away, I don't want to talk to you, but everything is just fine. I told you I'm fine, I'm relaxed, everything is under control. Like, Mom, I don't believe you. I don't believe myself, but sometimes we just want to be strong for others, but what it does the exact opposite. We're just confusing everything. It's just so much easier to tell your kids, hey, listen, I'm excited, but I'm also scared, and this is hard for me too. I'm afraid I won't be able to make new friends. And your kid will, well, I'm afraid I'm not going to make new friends, so let's do it together, right? We're in this together. We're dealing with everything together. And then what you're giving them is comfort, and you have their back, and they feel more secure and more confident, and that they're not alone, and they are allowed to feel everything that just comes, and that's okay, and it's much easier to handle.
And they understand. And you know, like, when you were talking, I thought about this, like, Friends episode where Ross is like, I'm fine! You know it? If you never watch Friends, go and watch it. Because it's
not now, after the episode.
But like, people around you know when you're not fine. Or actually people around you, like, let's take the other example that I had to deal with. Everyone around me was very sad and anxious for me that I decided to move abroad. I was excited. I took a lot of time for myself from the moment I made the decision to move from Israel to France. And I took about a month and a half to just work on myself, feel super confident about my move, understand really why am I moving, why am I doing it now, how am I feeling about it. I've done all the exercises and all the work we're doing here with our clients. And then when I finally said it out loud, I felt great about my move. But what I got from everyone else was like, but why? Why are you doing it? It's going to be so hard. You're going to have to start from zero. You're going to have to do this. You're going to live with your parents. You're 32. How are you going to do this? And I looked at them, and you know, it's so easy to be like, so maybe I should not tell them that I'm feeling great. Like, maybe I'll minimize it. I'm not going to tell them that I'm really happy. But that's what I felt. So at some point, I was like, they could see, like, I would listen to them, like, yeah. like you know, the same thing with the fine thing, that when you're trying to hide that you're not fine, when you're trying to hide that you're excited and you are, but you're trying to hide it, you find yourself smiling and people telling you really crazy stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, you're right. And then one friend catches it, and she's like, you're really excited about this, right? And I was like, yeah, yeah, really. She's like, okay, so the fact that I'm telling you that it's crazy is not helping. I was like, you can say whatever you feel. I'm feeling really great about it. But we needed to have this conversation. But the only way you can have this conversation is if you first know. So that's why we talked to you today about the two phases. The first one is, how are you feeling? Really? You need to be fully aware of that, so you know for yourself. And then once you know for real, you can now communicate it to others in a very simple way. Now, it doesn't mean you need to overshare or always share or put it out there in every kind of way. You can say, I'm right now having a situation. I'm not willing to talk about it right now. Or you can say, I'm feeling this. I'd love to talk about it. It's your choice, right? But at least you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really so important. First of all, for yourself. It's so much easier to walk around in this world knowing how you feel. And it's much less confusing than thinking what you should feel and matching others' feelings. It's like, it's so confusing.
But I can tell that, like, even right now where we're dealing with a lot of things in our life, as I said, I'm asking myself many times a day, how am I feeling? And even at night, sometimes, because I feel like my brain never stops, at some point I'm like, but what am I feeling? And usually the moment I stop, like, it's from mindfulness, but I stop, breathe, and ask myself, what am I feeling? The moment I realize what it is, that's where I finally manage to fall asleep, because I'm like, it's not messy anymore. It's that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming. I understand why you're here. Okay.
And journaling could be really, really helpful in this situation. And we just talked about it yesterday, that a lot of times we journal only the negative emotions. Like, oh, I'm feeling so stressed. This is hard on me right now. Blah, blah, blah. But when everything is good, we don't come to the journal and, put it on paper. And this is, it's a shame, because we should put all our feelings, everything, the hard moments, the great moments, the excitement, the sadness, the stress, everything. Have a journal for your move abroad. Put all your feelings there. Come to the journal a few times a day if you need it. Just write down whatever you're feeling right now. It can be, just 2-3 sentences. That's it. And then you can realize, oh, okay, I feel this and this and that. And look back a couple of days, I felt different, but that's okay.
Yeah, and one way to journal that if you're not and if you don't have the habit of doing it, and sometimes it's hard to start it again. So one way is just to dump everything that you have in your mind, heart, soul, wherever you feel it. Just put it out to paper, whatever you're thinking. It will declutter the mess in our head. Another thing is to describe what we see around us, because the way how we feel always impact what we see, right? There is the filters. We're talking about it a lot here. So you describe situations differently based on how you're feeling and in which state you are right now. So if it's hard for you to really tell what you're feeling, just describe your day. Just describe the situation. When you read back, not every time, I rarely read back my stuff. But when I write it, I can see what emotion is behind it based on what I described. And Maya mentioned it perfect. We rarely do it on the positive side. It's something we said yesterday that we need to do more, because it's easier, it's more comforting to go and let out the negative emotions. But as I said before, I don't believe in positive and negative emotion. They're all neutral emotions. It's what we decided to be. And all the range of emotion is so important for us. It's so important. We learn from them. They're here for a reason. And I just love emotions.
Absolutely. And if you need a notebook, a journal for journaling, then check the links below.
Yeah, we have a beautiful one that we love. That's an emotion. So, before we'll finish today, I want to ask you again, because it's been almost half an hour, and we talked about being in the present moment. So, how are you feeling right now? For real. It's between you and you. And if you feel like sharing, well, we're here for you, for real. And we'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely. And I really hope this was valuable to you. And if it did, why not press us a like, or a comment. And if you liked it, why not subscribe also?
Yeah.
To your favorite podcast platform.
Leave us a review somewhere. It shows us support, and it gives us the energy to keep on doing what we really love and being here with you. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. And we'll talk very soon.